Welcome back to week 4 of my Stardew Valley challenge run, where I try to reach perfection as soon as the game lets me. Today is spring 22, and like most days from previous episodes, we're going to start the day off by taking care of the farm. We'll say hi to the chickies, and also get some processing done in some of our machines. Also, I take the time to chop down a whole bunch of trees for a whole bunch of wood, and you'll see pretty soon what I use it on. Oh, nice. Look, that gives me more wood, and I'm chopping for wood. That's fun, that's convenient. Well, that was pretty fortunate. I'm hoping it's a good omen for the rest of the day. And while you're just watching me do menial tasks around the farm, I figured I'd share this clip. This is me and my cat Quill sharing a kinda cute moment. Hi. I'd like to think that he's somewhat of a channel mascot, so to speak. Anyways, back to the game. We are here at our first errand. We just have a whole bunch of geodes for Clint to break. And like I've mentioned in previous videos, I am using predictors to help me target specific items that I want from geodes, such as this treasure chest right here. And Ancient Seed was also on the list, so I got one of those for our farm. And finally, we'll give a few donations to Gunther. I do briefly step into Joja Mart for 3 reasons. First, to shoot a scowl at Morris on the way in. Second, to give a gift to Shane. I do want to raise my hearts with him up to 4 this week. And finally, to turn in a Help Wanted quest with Sam. Heading into town, we can see that Robin wants a topaz, and conveniently, that's exactly where I'm headed because I want her to help me build a barn. And upon turning in the quest, we get a prize ticket. Hooray! Next, we can head on down to the community center, and we'll finish off 2 bundles. First, we'll turn in that frozen geode that I just didn't have or forgot to bring last week, and we'll place that pumpkin in the fall crops bundle just to have it there, and finally, I'll decide to complete the construction bundle now too. Pierre's birthday is later this week, and it's a little hard to give him a loved gift, especially in the first spring. However, the bookseller is in town, and the price catalog is a loved gift for Pierre, so we'll get him one. I did realize after the fact that the price catalog costs more than, say, a prismatic shard would sell for, but I only thought about this, afterwards. Oh, and there we go, there's the prize ticket. That's the whole reason why I was just milling around behind the bookseller. Let's take this to Lewis's house. And this right here is the reason why I'm focusing so much attention on these Help Wanted quests, a Star Drop Tea. I talked about it a little bit in episode 0. I'm gonna give a whole bunch of these to Kent in about a year. Now that we're back on the farm, it is, surprise, more chores. I'm only watering my plants now because I picked up my watering can earlier today from Clint. Also, similarly, I'm using a bomb to hoe the ground, and fortunately I don't destroy anything else because my hoe is, well, at Clint's. Also, on this farm, I'm creating a lot more furnaces than I think the average Stardew player would, at least at this point in progression, although I might still be below average for challenge runners. It's just that these copper, iron, gold, and iridium bars are all useful for their different reasons. For example, the copper bars are useful for tappers. I'll need to tap at least 1 oak, pine, and maple tree for perfection requirements, although I'll want a lot more tappers for oak resin, which will help me craft kegs. I'll be using iron and gold bars to craft quality sprinklers later this week in preparation for summer, and for now, iridium bars are going to be my main source of income. Alright, Spring 23. First off, in the mail, Mayor Lewis warns us that tomorrow we're going to have a dance festival, so I do need to make sure that, by that point, I have a romanceable villager with at least 4 hearts. Well, I don't actually need it to happen, but it's nice to have someone to dance with. While I'm getting situated on the farm, I do want to briefly talk about my mining profession. I did pick blacksmith, which makes metal bars worth 50% more, so that does mean every time I sell an iridium bar, I'm getting 500 more gold than if I pick the other one, prospector. This doubles the chance to find coal, and that might also be useful because I end up buying coal from Clint later. And a brief interruption here, we're gonna head into town and find Shane and give him a parsnip. This will just barely bring him up to 4 hearts, which will make him a danceable villager tomorrow, and for some reason he still yells at us. Anyways. So back to coal and bars, maybe the best thing to do is actually go prospector first so that you can amass a large amount of coal first, and then in the sewers you can switch your profession back to blacksmith and then sell off all your iridium bars all at once. I don't know, that might be better, but I'm just playing it simple and I'm going with the route that'll just get me more income that I can then spend on more coal later. We're back in the Skull Cavern, of course, and the main goal here is to find more iridium for bars for selling. I do encounter a small bug right here where if you eat something at the same time as a bomb exploding, the game just kind of freezes for a while. Fortunately, the game clock doesn't tick, so I'm not really wasting any in-game time. Whoa! 2 prismatic shards at the same time. That right there was a 1 in 30,000 chance, by the way. That mummy dropped the prismatic shard and the monster compendium activated at the same time. Wow! A third one. Nice. In comparison, the chance of getting that prismatic shard was about 1 in 30, so not that impressive. Let's talk about 2 Skull Cavern strategies real quick. First, you might have noticed me taking some photos of floors. This is so I can look for any freebie ladders around the level without wasting in-game time. If there's a freebie on the floor, any rocks you break aren't going to drop another ladder. The second strategy is to break the rocks on these treasure floors, because since there's so few of them, you don't need to break that many, and sometimes you get shafts. And our 4th prismatic shard. Okay. Not bad. I guess if you go into the Skull Cavern a whole bunch, these things don't become that rare anymore. The first one was extremely useful for the Galaxy Sword, and we already donated one to Gunther, so we got that checked off. But we can still use them as loved gifts, we can still trade for magic rock candy, or we could just sell them. There's the Dark Cowboy hat. That is a little throwback to episode 3, day 16, where I thought I'd get a Dark Cowboy hat, but I didn't. Again, practical jokes, mystical proclivity. This is just what Stardew's all about. Cool. That's a nice stopping point, I guess. Oftentimes, passing out in Skull Cavern, not being slain by monsters, mind you, is a totally fine option to end the day, but I do want to get back home so that we can put more iridium in those furnaces. And that's another day in the books. Spring 24, the day of the flower dance. Our morning chores see our second harvest of strawberries, and some copper and iron bars going into the furnaces. I'm also using that dehydrator that we get from the mushroom cave occasionally. Today I'm using it for strawberries. The wood that I'm chopping right now is for a preserves jar, as we have another legend row, but I'm off to the mines real quick to farm dust sprites. Even though today is the flower dance, we do have until roughly 2 p.m., well, 1:50, to get to the festival on time. Our first interesting drop in this trip to the mines is this monster compendium. I've already read this book though, and trading it to the bookseller doesn't really give that interesting of things, so I might just sell it. It's 2,000 gold. In addition to absolutely being infested by dust sprites, this floor gives us a chance to update our wardrobe. A Wumbus shirt. Alright, new shirt. I think the zany Wumbus shirt is a bit more appropriate for Hanj, especially compared to the kind of boring toga shirt. After a few more dust sprites, we make it home a little bit early. I just don't want a repeat of episode 2, day 13, where I missed out on the egg festival and had to restart the day. Attending the flower dance for this challenge run is actually necessary for the tub of flowers recipe and this rare crow. And additionally, while we're here, we can chat to basically every villager and raise a few friendship points, and by dancing with Shane, we can raise his hearts from 4 to 5. Interestingly, the heart increase happens before you dance. It happens like right when you ask him, so a little bit strange. That was fun. Now that we're home, we can keep the machines producing, and I think we should end the night in the secret woods so that we can get some more hardwood and work on our foraging experience. But first... Yeesh, you dance with the guy one time and he pours his heart out to you. I'm mostly kidding here. I think it's actually kind of sweet that he's becoming a little less prickly towards us. Spring 25. Summer is getting ever closer and our chores are ever consistent. I was planning on going into the Skull Cavern today, but given that it's a bad luck day, I decided to pivot. We're smelting some more bars, using a rain totem because we're dropping off our watering can at Clint's, and picking up at least, well, exactly, 5 gold star parsnips for the community center. While we're waiting on the furnaces, we could beautify the farm just a little bit, and in doing so we are collecting some stone, some wood, and some hardwood. It's also pretty useful to scythe hay while we're walking around the farm. Buying them from Marnie costs 50 gold each, and I'd rather not do that, although we only have one silo, so we have limited capacity. Heading into town, we can pester Clint yet again for another watering can upgrade. This is in preparation for Summer 1, when we're going to have to water a lot of crops. And here's the exact reason why episode 3.5 is in episode 4.5. I needed to know how many melons and corn I will buy in Summer 1 because I'm buying speed grow for them today. Sandy sells an unlimited amount of speed grow on Thursdays, and I knew I was going to buy a whole bunch today in preparation for next Monday, Summer 1. Coming to the desert on Thursdays is also useful because we can trade in our excess prismatic shards for a magic rock candy. Just one though, not unlimited. Back in town, we once again visit Clint. We're not done with him today. We have a whole bunch of geodes and a few boxes to open. As you can see, I'm targeting really good items like the gold pumpkin, the treasure chest, another book, and also a glowstone ring. It's not a fantastic item, but it is a direct upgrade to what we have. We do get a lot of spring seeds, which is a little unfortunate. I just end up selling it. Also, Gunther gets a big donation, and in return, we litter on his floor, and also get another rare crow. I also intentionally don't read the mining book because we're already at mining level 10. Reading it now wouldn't do anything for us. However, I am keeping it for completion's sake, and also because I can use it to get mastery points in the future. Also, the foraging level 7 rank up we got last night is coming in handy now. This lets us craft tree fertilizer, which makes our mahogany trees and our ensuing oak tree empire come a little bit more quickly. Let's drop off those quality parsnips and take a quick glance at those quality melons and corn that we'll eventually need, and make our way to the Adventurers Guild where we can sell off some useless rings for a bit of cash, and we're just going to be farming dust sprites for a little bit now. Nothing all too interesting comes of this, but every dust sprite we slay gets us closer and closer to the burglar's ring. We also get a few gemstones and some iron ore, and right around now I realize, wait a second, there is a help wanted quest, and I really want to do them so I can get those prize tickets. And it just said that there was an invasive crab species, so I assumed that I could find one on this floor, but as you can see in my pause buffering, it specifically says lava crab. Unfortunately, it's just a little too late to make any meaningful progress with this quest, so we'll have to save it for tomorrow. Friday, spring 26. Let's see, it's rainy today because I made it rainy. The spirits are very happy today, meaning we're going to have high luck, so let's spend the day in the Skull Cavern. And we have a new barn, because Robin just completed that for us. And Gunther gave us a rusty key, which isn't too important for right now, but we could meet our favorite shadow creature today. Alright, let's see if we can get those lava crabs. They hide themselves as these red rocks, and you can use your weapon on them to detect if they're there or not. Great, that's 2 out of 4 down, and it's still pretty early in the day. even though they do look identical to the red rocks, they sometimes spawn a little bit out of the grid, whereas the rocks spawn in grid. So you can look for slightly misplaced rocks, and they're probably going to be a lava crab. Awesome, now that we slayed 4 crabs, let's go talk to Demetrius, and we get like a frame-perfect 9 AM entrance into the mountain. We can also get a big barn upgrade so that we can get goats fairly soon. And we can't forget that it's Pierre's birthday, so let's give him a little bit of business, buy these saplings a bit earlier than we need, and hand him that price catalog that we got from the bookseller earlier. Also, while we're in town, let's go say hi to Krobus. Interestingly, he takes a vow of silence on Fridays, but if it's the first time you're meeting him, he still greets you. He sells exactly 1 iridium sprinkler every Friday, and I think it is pretty valuable to get them anytime you can. Also, he sells some solar essences. We tend to run out of those when we're making mega bombs. And I could buy the star drop right now, but I figure I could save it when I'm low on energy. Okie dokie, all morning chores done. Now let's prepare to go to the Skull Cavern. It was a really lucky day after all. And here, this is actually the first time that I'm ever going to use explosive ammo in all of my farms. I haven't done it until now. Even though their explosion radius is much smaller than a mega bomb, they make up for that tremendously in how fast the explosion goes off. I've heard it's important to use the pull in opposite direction setting rather than press and release. I didn't actually try it myself, I'm just trusting what I read. It just fired without me doing anything. Okay, I'll be a bit careful with that. What was weird there is that after I ate my magic rock candy and just hovered over the slingshot, it spawned an explosive ammo on my body, which then fired when the eating animation was done. Explosive ammo is pretty resource intensive, it just requires a lot of coal. This kind of goes back to my blacksmith prospector debate, where maybe it's better to go prospector early so that you can get more coal for more than just bars, but also explosive ammo. You can also buy it from the Adventurers Guild if you want to bypass getting the coal and the iron and the smelting time. Nice, a battery. 5%, oh whoa, in a book. Combat Quarterly. Okay. I'll save that. Oh, I could read that now actually. My combat's not 10 yet. Nice, that was some really good back-to-back drops. Nice, treasure room, we got life elixir? Okay, I'll probably use that soon. I probably could have saved that book until later, because I'm definitely going to hit combat level 10 before, say, farming or foraging level 10, but it did let us get to combat level 9 right now, so maybe having this progression now is better. This has a back-to-back rabbit's foot and a prismatic shard. Quite nice. Like I mentioned previously, the sheer amount of times that we're entering the Skull Cavern makes these rare items like prismatic shards not that rare anymore. Like this one doesn't even get a verbal reaction out of me, just a not bad expression. I'm honestly more enthused about my strategy of breaking rocks and treasure floors working again because we get a shaft here after the prismatic shard. One more rain totem. I don't think I need that anymore, but reminds me of the other time that we got some. For me, floor 100 is a benchmark of a pretty good Skull Cavern run, but we still have time, so let's head down all of these shafts and see how low we can get. It's a good thing the shafts don't actually kill you, because, yeah, 1 health. Alright, let's eat some food. Along the way down, we get some cherry bombs from a treasure floor, which we'll use right now. We also got some warp totems back home, but let's not use them and instead see how far down we can get. Floor 172. Not bad. I think that's Hanja's personal best. Spring 27, and it's a bad luck day. Okay, no Skull Cavern. And it's at this point right here where I realized, wait a second, I could have given a prismatic shard to Pierre, not that 3,000 gold price catalog. Ugh, okay, I missed out on 1,000 gold. Honestly, not a big mistake. Still not as bad as eating that legend row. Our morning chores will include planting those saplings that we got from Pierre yesterday. Kinda wild to think that we're already preparing for Fall 1. We're also making sure that the furnaces are still working, and here's a little trick with hay. You can just take out the hay from the hopper as long as you don't have the auto-feeding feature installed from a fully upgraded coop or barn. And you really only need the one silo as long as you keep taking out hay, harvesting more, and then putting the rest in a chest. And this is the explosion we heard last night. A meteorite fell on our farm, and we can't break it. We need an upgraded pickaxe, so let's do that today so that we can break this by summer 1. I really wanted to plant starfruit right where it is right now. From Marnie, we're finally getting our first animals, well, besides the initial 2 chickens that come with the Meadowland farm. I think because our chickens were named after mushrooms, let's continue the mushroom train for our coop animals. And when it comes to our barn animals, I'm thinking let's do another non-meat protein and go with bean names instead. Also, I realize that our foraging experience is going to be a little bit lacking compared to our other skills, so that's why going to the secret woods is helpful, not only for the hardwood, but also so we can guarantee that we get consistent foraging experience. What's kind of convenient about the bad luck day is that we don't really need to go on another skull cavern dive because we haven't processed our ores yet, so we could take today to really put the furnaces to work. Clint, once again, is being real helpful right now. He helps us find a magic rock candy. He's selling us more coal so we can make more bars. And he's upgrading our pick for us. So I think he's deserving of a little gift. Why not? Now, what's a little inconvenient about our plans today is that we just dropped off our pickaxe, and the best thing I think to do today is to farm more dust sprites in the mines, which you usually need a pickaxe for when you're in the mines. So we'll just use the slingshot with explosive ammo if we really need to mine stuff. Also, here's another moment of Stardew Valley being just a little bit silly again. We get another Dwarf Scroll 3. I don't know how many of these we found at this point, but I do know that we haven't found 1, 2, or 4 yet, so we should really get the other scrolls, please. Another pretty useful strategy for Stardew is just to take your machines with you. Like, for example, you can take fish smokers with you while you're fishing, or furnaces with you to the mines while you're mining. Ghostfish! And here's a little skill expression moment with the slingshot. I'm dragging over an enemy so I can shoot it, so I can explode the iron ore, because again, I don't have my pick. And there's another group of nodes over there, and remember how I said this is the first time I've been using the slingshot? Okay, I'm not the best at it. Anyways, let's head on out. Spring 27 is Emily's birthday, so let's see if we can catch her at the end of her shift. Oh, shoot, well, it's closed. I think she's still in there. Let's, okay, yeah, it is her birthday. It is the 27th. Let's, non-creepily hang out of her workplace and give her, hey, Emily, happy birthday. Here, have a rock. Okay, bye, good night. Okie dokie. Let's head on back home, make sure those furnaces are working on iridium bars overnight. Oh, and we should close the barn and coop doors so that the animals stay happy and warm. And wow, we don't even make it to bed. Well, passing out in our house is 1,000 gold better than passing out outside. Spring 28. It's the last day of the week, the video, and the season. We have a lot to prepare for summer. Pam gave us an item in the mail this morning. If you reset the day, it can cycle through a few different items, so I did wait until it was a battery. I just used a cookout kit to make a farmer's lunch to get a better harvest out of our crops. Unfortunately, yesterday I did forget to water the strawberries, so we got a partial third harvest. A little bit unfortunate, but this doesn't end the run or anything. But what could have totally ended the run is that I just completely forgot to check the traveling cart this week. Fortunately, there were no goods in there that I really critically needed, like garlic for example, but it would have been nice to stock up on red cabbage seeds. Continuing the trend from yesterday for our barn animals, we get 2 new goats, Lima and Pinto. Now I huff it across town to get to Clint's just so I can sell him some iridium bars. I want to make sure that we have a lot of money for a lot of starfruit seeds today. I mean, I guess I could buy the 160 or so seeds that I want tomorrow, but I'd rather get this done today so we have more time tomorrow for planting. This particular floor took me way too long, and if I used that strategy from earlier where I just took a picture of the floor, I would have realized that there was a freebie ladder hiding in the top right corner. Oh well. Earlier I mentioned that this was the first farm I was using a slingshot in. Also, this is the first time I've ever gone to the Skull Cavern without my pick. I can't mine anything right now except with explosives. It's a little bit risky, but I need the money now, and I think I'll fare just fine. And what do you know, we're about to get probably the rarest item in this entire run right now. This auto petter. Admittedly, it's actually not that useful right now because I want to be the one petting my animals for faster friendship. This really only matters for the barn animals though, because I need to increase their friendship to get the large milks sooner, so let's pop it in the coop. Still, an amazing find, and this will help automate the coop even more. Oh my goodness, another dark cowboy hat? Okay, this is somehow gonna work its way into the thumbnail. I want to share yet another Skull Cavern strategy that I'm using. Right now I just don't have bombs in my inventory. I'm crafting them and then using them immediately. This helps to clear up some inventory space and also forces me to be, I think, a bit more conservative about my bomb usage. The clock keeps ticking later and later, but fortunately the floors keep going lower and lower, and we finally hit floor 100 at midnight. Let's go down a few more floors, get a little bit more iridium, and whoa, okay, that shaft really hurt. Okay, one more calculated shot with a slingshot. Don't hit myself. And let's head out. Okay, let's get a few more trades in before the video ends and make sure that we're getting more iridium bars for money tomorrow. And I'm just prepping my inventory so I don't forget what I want to do on Summer 1. As things are wrapping up, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in and sticking it out to the end. And I'll catch you in 2 weeks for the first few days of summer. Alright, bye!